What's going on, Hot Take Hockey viewers? It's me, Austin Sobolski, Hot Take Hockey Music Wizard here. And I just wanted to send a quick video. As you all know, the playoffs first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs are about to wrap up in a couple of days. And I wanted to give my thoughts on the first round. I know it's like 5 or 6 days since the Lightning got swept, but I wanted to give a recap about the Lightning first round and just my thoughts on it. And I didn't pretend what I said in that video you guys saw, after they lost game 3. I really meant it. I thought they could come back. But I'm just going to fair to warn you that this is going to be a rant, and I'm going to be going a little off because someone's got to say something. And the gloves are coming off, no holding back, so these are my real thoughts. So the first thing is, what the hell was going on? I don't understand, they know the way the playoffs are. They know what it takes to win. They're not every year they lose in the first round. I don't understand. I mean, if we could beat last year the Bruins and the Devils to get to the Eastern Conference Final Game 7, and it's everyone's saying they underestimated them. And it's I can't believe they underestimated them. It's yes, they didn't go through much adversity, but that just was ridiculous. You don't underestimate your opponent in the playoffs. That's the last thing you should do. And second of all, your top 3 scorers and point producers, Kucherov, Point, and Stamkos, don't show up until the final game when you're already down 3-0. That's what they call too little, too late. They all combined for 5 points, and those 5 points were all in the 4th and final game. That is ridiculous. That is bullshit. You cannot do that. That is just inexcusable. And another thing that's really inexcusable is Kucherov. You know better. You've been in the playoffs since they made it to the Stanley Cup final back in 2015. You've been in the NHL for at least 5 or 6 years now. And you just took a play out of Kadri's book and did an inexcusable, violent, dirty hit that luckily wasn't too bad. It only got you a game suspension, but that is just ridiculous. That is childish. You are not ready to be a Stanley Cup champion if you're going to hit a player who's already down on the ice and defenseless. That was just stupid. You screwed us up for game 3. We even before game 3 started, we basically lost game 3. And just our power play and our penalty kill, where did that go all of a sudden? We had the top penalty kill and power play. And the final results after 4 games, we were 50% on our penalty kill and 1 for 6 on the power play. So think of the opposite. The Blue Jackets had a 50% power play and an 83% penalty kill. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. And it just angers me. It's just, Stamkos is just our captain and he's supposed to be our leader. And what happens, it's he scores 4 goals, a goal each game last year in the Eastern Conference Final. And then 5, we still win game 5, but he doesn't score a goal. And then game 6 and 7, he's nowhere to be seen. And then that happens again for the first 3 games. So before game 4, he was scoreless and pointless in 6 straight games of the playoffs. And then finally decides to show up in game 4. And the question is just going to keep being why, how. It's who, what, where, why. It's just I don't understand. It's just so infuriating. And the worst part is just no team is guaranteed a Stanley Cup. How your season turns out. No one is. But it's just when your team does so good and only loses 20 games. I'm not saying it was going to be easy. I knew from the get-go that this first round was going to be tough against the Blue Jackets. I said this was going to take 6 games in my bracket. Well, didn't take 6 games. It only took 4, and you all know what happened. And it really hurts me. And it's the funny thing is, you see game 1, the Lightning are up 3-0, and it wasn't nothing to do with the primary scores. It actually was our depth scores that started off well in the first period. It was Killorn, then Cirelli, and then Gord. And Sergachev is the defenseman helping out with the assists. And I think to myself, this is a great way to start off the playoffs. It's not our primary scores having to worry so much and having to carry so much of the load, because you need that balance from all 4 lines if you're going to win the Stanley Cup. And then after that, the depth scoring completely vanishes out of thin air for the rest of the series after that first period. And it's just so weird. The total amount of goals that we scored over a course of 4 games, 8 goals. How many did the Columbus Blue Jackets score? 19. So that's at least 4 goals, almost 4 goals a game. Or no, yeah, it's more than 4 goals a game. And they win 4-3 the first game. They win 5-1. So they scored 9 goals in 2 games in Tampa Bay. The only 2 in this year's playoffs. The fans, including myself, are humiliating, wondering, what did we just watch? Like, what the hell did we just watch? That's not our Lightning. And then it even gets worse when we go to Columbus. They score 3, we lose 3-1. And then, I mean, yeah, it's 3 empty net goals, but it's like, what was the point of pulling the goalie after the first empty net goal? It just made the score look like a punch in the teeth, 7-3. And that was the funny thing. Another thing about a punch in the teeth. You know, Stamkos last year, after they lost Game 7, said, you know, once again, because it's the second time that they had lost in 3 years in a Game 6 and 7 of the Eastern Conference Final, and it was like a gut-wrenching feeling. So what was this? These 4 games of getting swept. This was, like, if you're calling that series, like, we still weren't the better team. We definitely got outplayed by the Capitals, but we still had a chance. If that was a gut-wrenching feeling that you were once again so close to making it to the Stanley Cup Final, then what was this? Like, I think this was even a gut-wrenching feeling. This was a punch to the gut, a kick or a skate in the teeth, or a stick in the teeth, or a punch in the face. Like, seriously, Stamkos, you didn't show up, and neither did Kucherov, and nobody else. Brayden Point, you're my boy. I'm wearing your jersey right now, and it's only your second year in the playoffs, your 3rd overall season. But you're one of the younger players and one of the young core guys. You have to step up and show what you could, because you were the top goal scorer of our team up until Stamkos was on a goal scoring rampage and beat Point. You know, Kucherov and Point had 41 goals, and Stamkos ended up with 45. But yeah, Brayden Point was leading the way for a majority of the season, and it's just no one showed up. Not even Tyler Johnson, not even Killorn. Only the first period he showed up. Andre Palat showed up in the 3rd game. Just the whole team just did not show up, and it's fucking embarrassing. I'm fucking pissed, and it's just, I'm really angry. I just don't understand why this happened. And John Cooper, last to not least, he's still a great coach. Even Julian Breezewall said, even if he didn't sign a contract extension before the playoffs, the same thing, he says, after the series sweep, he still would have signed Cooper. And I believe him. Cooper is our guy. I don't see what other coach is going to help out this team. He is the reason we won 62 games. It's not just the players. The coaching is what helps out too, essentially. But John Cooper, after the first 2 games, he didn't do enough line changing or enough changing or combination. And it's like, you're just chewing your gum. You're not even yelling at the guys. I'm not saying you have to yell as much as John Tortorella does, but he gave such a motivating speech. And that was before their first period collapse. And then they switched and they changed it all around. And second of all, that's what I'm going to quickly say. That Nick Foligno breakaway goal that made it 3-1, that was the difference. That meant this. That was the game changer. And I'm sorry when I say this, Lightning fans, that was the moment this series was over. When that goal got allowed, we allowed the breakaway. Vasilevsky did make another decent save, really, in the rest of the playoffs. That was it. I know I'm not trying to be so mean, but it's the honest to God truth. That was the moment. And John Cooper, you have to yell more. It's like the only time I ever saw him get so excited or get so emotionally invested was when we coach challenged in the 4th and final game. It was 2-1, and it could have been 3-1, and it was offside, and he got so excited. But where was your motivation or your emotion in the other 3 games? Like, seriously, like, you have to sometimes yell or get your players motivated and just, like, light a fire under their ass. And just do something. You have to just motivate your team. The coach he just didn't seem like he motivated the team enough. And just that's the part that really hurts me the most, is that for all the talk about Tyler Johnson, I see all these commercials because, you know, I live here in Florida, and all the, like, starting from the moment we got eliminated, the summer off season last year, how we want to win a Stanley Cup, we want to make the playoffs, we want to go all the way, this is the year. And you know what? I think it's just a big fucking joke. That's what I think. It's just like, how am I supposed to trust these guys or believe what they say, what comes out of their damn mouths? It's like, you really wanted to win the Stanley Cup? Well, yeah, you sure as well proved that you wanted to win the Stanley Cup, all right. You just embarrassed yourself all over social media, national USA-wide media, and now you're just spent this summer watching the playoffs from your TV couch and embarrassed just the rest of the summer off season. It's going to be a permanent scar in your brain what you guys just performed in those 4 games. Stamkos, I love you. You're the captain, but you didn't act like the captain, and you didn't lead. And same thing goes to Cooper. He just didn't show enough emotion or motivation to this team. He showed some, but not enough. And Stamkos, you can say all you want that you want to win a cup for the city of Tampa Bay. And everyone else, Tyler Johnson, Kaloran, all of you guys were so focused on the playoffs. But the way you guys performed, you guys were not playoff ready, and you guys clearly didn't want to win a Stanley Cup. And you know what the price you guys just paid? This is the last year this core of the team is going to be around. I mean, the main core is still going to be around. It's still going to be Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, and Hedman, and Vasilevsky, and maybe JT Miller, maybe, and I'm assuming Ryan McDonough. But we have so many unrestricted free agents. We have to sign Braden Point. Callahan's going to be gone because his contract is too much, even though it's 1 year left. We have Coburn, Strawman, and Girardi, unrestricted free agents. And it's just like this season just seems like, what was this season all about? It's like no one's going to remember these 62 wins right away. You know what's going to be remembered? 4. The magic number 4. 4 straight losses. Not at all during the season. We never lost 3 in a row. And all of a sudden, after the season is over, we lost 4 straight games. And you know what was even more embarrassing? You know, from the beginning of the season, we were talking about the playoffs, wanting to make the playoffs. That was the goal, to get the playoffs. You know what happened? It only lasted 10 days, people. 2 days off, or 3 days off. We start game 1, 4 days after the season ends. We only lasted 6 days in the playoffs, 10 days overall after the season ended. What a big fucking joke. It's just terrible. To all the Lightning fans out there, I know you're hurting as much as I am. I'm hoping that this was like, we're in the Capital situation over the last 6, 7, 8 years. We've been close. We've had so many times. And, they've won 2 President's Trophies in a row. So hopefully this, even though they should have already learned their lesson, like they say they learned their lesson over these last 5 years. These last 5 years we've been so close. And you thought that they would have packed it together and worked it all out. And it's like, it's back to the drawing board. They didn't learn anything from these last 5, 6 years. I'm hoping that they learn their lesson this time, but this summer is going to be a long summer of just so many question marks, so many what ifs, hows, so many confusion. And like I said, once again, what we witnessed is not going to leave us. We're never going to forget this. Even when the season starts up in fall, this 2019-2020 season, I'm still going to be rooting for them. I'm a true Lightning fan, but it's going to take some time to trust them again. And even when the playoff starts, I'm not going to believe them that they're serious about winning until I actually physically see it. And hopefully to you, all you Lightning fans out there, hopefully next year is a better year. But it was still a great year, but it's hard to think about the positives when the negatives there's only a few negatives, and they somehow outweigh all the positivity from this season. But it is what it is. No way going back. So thank you all. This round went on a little bit longer than I thought it was, but I had to say what was on my mind. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I wish Columbus and John Tortorella, he's a great coach. He really motivated that team. We'll see how they perform in the second round. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay in touch with all the playoff videos the rest of this playoff year. John's got a lot of great playoff videos coming up to you and more live streams as well. So stick around for all of that. I'm Austin from Hot Take Hockey saying peace out, and I hope you have a great night.